Welcome all to the In the Bank podcast. My name is Jackson. Happy to have you here today. My friend Rohan is on the other end. How are you doing today, Rohan?
Yeah, I'm doing. What's the word we said we're going to start using again? A couple episodes ago.
Swell. That's a white guy word, right?
So, yeah,
it wasn't swell.
Well, I'm doing
It was something like that. It was a white guy word. Terrific.
I'm doing semi-swell. It is 116 degrees tomorrow. It's actually going to probably hit 115 today, I think, here in Arizona. So, going to stay inside. You know, that's going to be swell. How are you doing?
I'm good, dude. I've been hitting the gym, getting a little bit healthier. Had a golf lesson today. Really figured some shit out. My swing's looking good. I was crushing the ball. What else? It's fucking hot, though. You're right. I'm going to try and play golf tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to survive.
Yeah. Good luck.
It should be interesting. I saw a guy walking the golf course the other day, like and he didn't even have a push cart. He was carrying that thing on his back. It's like 4 hours out in the sun. Guy's a psycho.
That's disgusting. Dude, the AC in my car is not working right now, and like I'm a little scared to go get it fixed because I know it's going to be like a $400. Like normally it's probably like a $100 thing. They might up it to $400 right now, so I might just say fuck it and just ride with the windows down until August hits or until September hits.
That's that supply and demand, dude. That's fucking. Yeah. They can do that here. They can do that.
Yeah.
Speaking of supply and demand. When's the last time you met a lady who just absolutely blew your mind in the sheets? When did that happen for you?
Like just went crazy my junior year of college. So 3 years ago. 2-3 years ago, yeah. And
did she have any like specific techniques, that she was working with? Like what was she up to? Or was it just like in general a good time?
No, it was just a great time in general. Yeah, nothing.
So I was going through old YouTube videos the other day, and these are old. This is an old video, and I asked you if you'd ever seen it. You said no, and so I wanted to share it with you today live because this is one of those techniques that if it was ever tried on you, I think it would fucking change your world for the better. So we're going to share this. Wait, wrong button. Jesus criminy. There we go. Here we go. So this is Angela A., as it says on the screen, and she is a dating expert in the world, like for women.
Okay.
I'll say before she starts, the fact she's giving this away for free is insane. It's insane. She's losing dollars and cents by doing this, but we'll keep going. Super important.
What the fuck is it?
Right, you got to do your homework. naturally. That's an excellent point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if like imagine so you she rolls up with a grapefruit shaped like that. You're all the mood's dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can tell this. You can tell this lady's an expert. We'll continue though. Truth. Mm.
Bro. All right, yo, hit play.
Yeah. Damn straight, dude. Damn fucking straight. You know, my favorite part of this video is when she's doing it. She's doing the thing. God damn it. Fucking A. So is when she's polishing it off, right? The fuck is that? Okay, we're good. Is when she's polishing that thing off, right? And then just comes out of it and then just keeps talking like she's having a regular everyday conversation. Like she didn't just do that in front of whoever's watching the video.
Can I make an announcement real quick?
Go for it.
If you are in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area, and you like grapefruits, I am hosting an offer. I will pay for the grapefruits. If you're on the chubbier side, we can use a Krispy Kreme donut too. All right, that looked sensational.
Right, dude. And you can tell she's a dating expert because you saw what she was doing. You know what I mean? She was polishing that thing off.
No, that was elite dome. Like you can't.
That's impressive.
That was elite dome. You can't deny it.
Dude, I remember the first time. I think I found that like early high school. And we were all at lunch watching that, and like just dudes are all over the place laughing their ass, like just rolling on the floor. Like it's like she gets possessed by a demon and then like comes out of it and just it's like she didn't even remember what was happening.
Yeah, I mean it's not so yeah. I mean
for the love of the game, it's crazy.
So does she have a kid?
Great question. I don't know anything about her.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough thing to post when you have a kid.
Right.
That's not like I mean she didn't have to like go crazy like that, you know, when I like in the video for educational purposes. But like that's like elite dome, you know, like that is elite. That's elite dome. You can't hate the game.
So I said at the beginning, I just came to this realization. I was like, the fact she's giving this away for free is insane, which it still is because revolutionary. But what if it's just an ad for her dome giving course?
No, well, it's a good fucking ad.
You know what I mean?
It's a movie trailer. That's a movie trailer.
Right.
That's a great movie trailer.
If you're watching that as a chick, you're like, I'm not going to do this, but what is she doing right there? Like, how does she do that? And then you buy the course, bang.
No, I mean, if I was a chick, I'm trying that because I know this for a fact. Girls don't love the taste of dick, and then they don't like the taste of a condom. Right, and like if you're getting head with a condom on, that's like if a girl says I want to give you head, but you need to wear a condom, I'm saying get the fuck out my house. You know what I mean? Like that's
not.
You're not doing anything.
It's like why bother? Like let's just skip the thing. It's like, not. There's no pro.
It's like eating pussy with a Safeway plastic bag over your head. It's not. You're not doing anything, right?
It's not worth doing. Yeah, exactly. It's not worth the effort.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great technique. I know like whipped cream's a pretty popular technique as well. So I know of that. When I saw the video, like when you told me about it, you're like, don't research it. I didn't. I had an idea what it was gonna be when I saw her slicing the thing. I was preparing it, but I didn't. But you gotta start bringing. I'm gonna start buying some grapefruits. You know, like you gotta start bringing them things to the party. Like those are.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm more impressed by is that she came up with that technique or just the technique itself of the sloppy toppy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No,
because both of those are just incredible.
No, that was not
the commitment to the game.
That was not a small dildo. That was a big. You know,
right.
that was a bomb pop. You ever seen what a bomb pop looks like? The ice cream? That was a bomb pop.
Nope. Okay.
The really big popsicles you get in the ice cream truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't. So, yeah, I mean, dude, shout out to her, bro. It's going to suck when she has kids.
Yeah.
And they have to unfortunately see that, you know, how their future brothers got swallowed.
Right. And, well, here's the thing is she probably does have kids because if there's dudes out there, you know, and they saw that video, which they did because that thing was viral on YouTube. It's not on YouTube anymore. I don't know why. I think it got, like, taken down for some reason.
Yeah.
But for anyone who's seen that video, you're automatically, like, interested. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a weird thing. It's like the same thing. So, do you know about the Adam 22 and Lena the Plug situation at all?
Roughly.
All right. So let me give you a quick breakdown. So Adam 22, he's a very famous podcaster. He talks about like gang related stuff and like hip hop and in like the LA scene. He married a P-star named Lena the Plug. And when they met, they never did a scene with any other guy. All right?
The
girl.
The lady hadn't? Okay.
She's never done a scene with another guy prior to them getting married when they were dating and stuff, right?
Right.
They get married. They have a daughter. And then they decide that she's going to do a scene with a BBC. All right, the dude's name is like Jason Love. He's like probably like 6'9", fucking buff as shit. All right, he's got a hammer for a dong, right? Like I'm
Did
just
you say like this thing?
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's like it's like imagine holding two microphones right now. Like imagine trying to hold two microphones in your hand.
Yeah.
And we're talking maybe like 14, 15. Like I mean, it's right? Like it's a thing, right?
He's got a big old thing. Okay.
Yeah, like, and I'm not even saying this in in a zesty way, but dude, the way so I saw parts of the video. All right, I was curious, dude. He had her gripping the side of the bed. He had her eyes like looking in the back of her brain. It's a tough watch. Like I watched and I felt bad for Adam, right?
Yeah.
And I understand why we have a rise in like these alpha male personalities now, like the bald Romanian guy, like the what do you call it? All of those guys. It's a funky situation. Would you let your? I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts? I mean, you don't know much about the situation, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, here's the thing, man. So she's married and doing this, had never done it before. It's just, that's not a good look for anyone involved. I mean,
well, he's
they have a kid.
Yeah, they have a 3-year-old daughter, and the guy who Adam 22, he seems to be like all on board with it. Like, he seems to be very happy with the whole thing. He's like on Twitter making jokes about it. So
he's got like a cuckold thing going?
Yeah, I mean, he's admitting to being a cuck as well.
And he's okay with that? I don't know, man. Whatever makes them happy, I guess. Like, if he's genuinely happy with that, I mean, it's fucking weird, but good for you, I guess. But what I will say is, just women are out of control right now, dude. They are. They just are. Like, there's this. Did you see the thing with Jonah Hill?
Yeah, I saw that.
So he texts the girl and is like, hey, this isn't going to work because we're just, have different expectations for what this is supposed to be like. Peace and love to you. Hope you do well, right? And then he sends a super mature text, in my opinion. And then, she takes a screenshot of that and then posts it and is like, thinking she's dunking on him. You know what I mean? It's weird.
Dude, with this weird-ass behavior, right? Listen, I'm not a huge fan of, the whole alpha male personality, goes dropship XYZ. I'm not a big fan of that whole entire sphere. But I think that we need that to balance out what the internet has become, right? Because now you have all these OnlyFans chicks promoting all this dog shit, right? You have guys who are okay with being a cuck, right? Like, we kind of need the Andrew Tates. We need it to so guys aren't there at 15 to 16 years watching their wives get fucked on camera. This poor girl, she's gonna grow up with a lot of mental trauma because her mom wanted to get fucked by a black guy. It's inherently selfish as well,
Yeah, it's weird. Well, dude, I don't know when it became stuff that used to be taboo just isn't anymore now. You know what I mean? Just in general, if you go out in public, say you were to do a bit, right?
Yeah.
And you came out and you were like, hey, who here is into foot fetishes? You know what I mean? And that's how you started it. You'd get a few dudes piping up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
that shouldn't be normal. You know what I mean? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with liking feet, but standing in a public place and being like, hey, I like feet. Everyone look at me. That's weird.
Dude, this whole weird sexual rise, I think, came from when Kim Kardashian becoming really famous. It kind of matches with the timeline of this weird rise and woman being oh, I want to be sexually free. I want to spread my butt cheeks for $4.99 a month. Right? I think it
times look like a fucking fish.
Yeah, I think at times really fucking well with Kim Kardashian becoming famous. Right? What is that timeline? When did it happen? Because it wasn't normal. Right? Because now if you go on the internet and say swinging is weird and only weirdos swing, there's going to be a community that hates on you. Right? Why is that the case?
I think even weirder though is it makes sense on the internet because people can hate on you anonymously for saying something like that. There are people who will do it and put their face behind it in public. You know what I mean? If you get in the right group of people, you can be like, it's just weird, and then everyone will be like, what are you, fucking gay? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, Well, I mean, it's the same thing with her, right? Like, they put their kid's picture out in the public, right? They put their daughter's picture out in the public. I mean, it's a porn scene. It's very public, right? Like, there's gonna... I mean, did it start with the whole feminist movement back in, like, 2016, 2017, right? Because what was that about, right? Because I know when...
Is that... You talking about, like, the Me Too thing?
No, the Me Too is a little different. That was about Hollywood, and like I'm kind of happy to me. Like I'm happy. Like I hope all those creeps in Hollywood get exposed, right?
Right.
But I think like maybe late.
Except for Louis. Love you, Louis.
Yeah. Well, he admitted to it, so. Right. Like, I want to go to a Crystalia stand up and just wear a Me Too shirt. Yeah, but that's a different topic. But if you go back to if you go back to. I mean, did it start during the pandemic? Like this, like
I don't know. I think it's porn, dude. Honestly,
but porn's been around for so long. Like it's only
like on the internet where it's like
because
like you listen to a story like you ask your dad like, hey, how did you get porn back in the day? He's like, I had to fucking swim across the Rio Grande and get into Mexico, and I had to go to some store where some guy was like pointing a shotgun at me because he didn't trust me, and I had to come and I had to like give him my fingerprints to make sure it worked okay, and I had to smuggle that shit back over the border, and it was just like one Hustler magazine, right?
Yeah.
And now I could do it right now. I could just open my computer, and there's a gazillion.
I mean, dude, that video you showed in the beginning of the podcast, bro, in the 80s, guys would be wanking to that thing, right? Like that's an elite porno
100%.
That's elite porno in the 80s. But that still doesn't explain why there's been a huge movement towards like people wanting to become OnlyFans models and people wanting to like get into like even like celebrities.
I think it does. Because like there's money in it now, you know what I mean? Like it used to be.
Money? Like Playboy.
Well, it's like it was probably harder to break in. You know what I mean? Because like now, it's kind of like you could say it's sort of similar to comedy. You know what I mean? Like before you had to do the whole fucking thing. You had to meet the right people. You had to move to the place. You had to do the thing. And now it's just like if you just blow up on the internet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if you're selling, especially if you're selling like subscriptions, and the market for, lonely dudes out there who will pay $5 a month to have an internet fake girlfriend, like that's a huge market that
Yeah, here's a funny story. I met a girl at a bar my senior, so a year ago. So a year ago, I met a girl at a bar, and her job was managing OnlyFans girls. And I asked her, like, yo, is it weird that you have to like message guys like left and right? And she says, no. They outsource it to India and like Thailand and like Asia. So
it's like a call center, yeah.
Yeah, so those guys who are on OnlyFans paying $6.99, you're chatting with some Indian guy named Rakesh. Or like some gay little Indian guy named Rakesh is asking to see your penis. Yeah. It's not her. And I don't understand why guys have not understood that. Is it like that's mind-boggling? I don't get it. I still don't get it.
It's weird.
It's mind-boggling to me.
Have you ever watched 90 Day Fiancé?
I've seen Big Ed.
Yeah. So exactly. So like, I think it's just denial. You know what I mean? I think it's like the same thing on 90 Day Fiancé, where someone's been stringing them along for years and years and years, and then like they've put so much money into this thing, and it's like almost like a sunk cost deal, and they're probably like have a little bit of social shit going on, and like after a while they're just like, I don't even care. Like it's just like my life now.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder that's what scares me about having a kid, right? Like I've openly stated I don't want to have a kid because I don't want to have a son who sits on Discord and is spanking his shit onto TikToks, to softcore stuff on TikTok. And then on the flip side, I also don't want to have a daughter who's making this stuff for attention. Like, do you think at some point we're ever gonna just, as a society, like break away from social media? Like, we're gonna have to just say fuck it.
No, it's like too much of. You're not gonna get everyone to do it because it's just everyone's so hooked, like dopaminergically, you know. I mean, their brain and stuff. It's just like if you turned off the internet today, it'd be anarchy in like, you know, a week. It'd be like The Walking Dead.
No, I mean, like I wouldn't even. I mean, I wouldn't know what to do without my phone, right? Like, I mean, I use it for maps and stuff like that. Like, I didn't have Instagram throughout high school, so I didn't really, because like I said, I didn't really care. Oh, you got a stat. Your mic's giving static.
Oh, good. You should be good now.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying, I don't know. It's becoming a weird thing. You know, the internet's becoming a weird thing, even with censorship, and it seems like we're encouraging more the internet's encouraging to more softcore stuff. I think they just want to get people as hooked on as possible, and that's why Meta is okay, right? With like Zuckerberg's okay with promoting all that dog shit on your feed, but you know, if you're a comedian and you know you want to make a joke, you know, that's dicey. You know, that's a dicey situation.
Dicey, dude. Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird time. It's just people jerking off, fucking jizzing into socks, and no one's grapefruiting each other anymore. You know what I mean? We need to get back to that.
We need to get back to
because that's an act of love. You know what I mean? If you think about it, because like think about the effort that goes into that. It's not just like, all right, we're gonna have sex now. You know what I mean? It's I'm gonna get this grapefruit, right? And I'm gonna buy it in the store. And I'm gonna get it all set up, and I'm gonna roll it first, right? Because she said you got to roll it because you got to get the juices going, and then you got to slice it just perfectly, and you got to know intuitively the size of, like she said, your man's dick, right? And you got to cut a hole that fits that size, and you got to make sure it's, you know, it appropriately fits, like, and then you go and do the thing. That's an act of love to me. And people aren't doing that stuff anymore. They'll just go watch someone get grapefruited on the internet. That's not good for us.
Yeah, I mean, even with the internet, I think that yeah, I mean, that's okay. Great analogy there about grapefruits, dude. I wanted to actually get back to that. Do you think people, I mean, everyone chases fame in a sense, right? To maybe pursue a passion. Are people chasing fame now? Or are we just seeing people chase attention, and when people's careers die out, they'll do shit like making OnlyFans, and they'll kind of resort to whatever low they can to still keep attention. Do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah. Well, it depends on, I don't know. I think a lot of it depends on like how you got your attention in the first place. You know what I mean? Because like if you got your attention at first by being talented and bringing something to the table. So say like, I don't know, who's a good, like in comedy, right? Let's say you're Louis C.K., right? Someone who's doing clubs forever, like didn't really get popular until he was like in his 40s, really. And then finally did because he had been working for a long time, became super good at what he did. And now it's like, you know, he has a following because he puts out high quality stuff consistently and is like, just makes people laugh with like really good fucking material, like some of the best material you'll ever see, as opposed to some other comic who like sort of maybe gets on quicker, but you know, is doing like lower quality stuff and just pumping out a bunch of stuff and being like kind of clickbaity and doing stuff like that. It's like, that's who they are. That's who their brand is. And so it's like they might feel pressure because they have this following and they want to keep the following, or they want to keep the following happy to keep doing that sort of stuff when they might want to develop artistically, right? They might feel a little stuck.
Yeah, you know,
they might, you know, start a fucking OnlyFans.
You know, actually I just thought about this. So, do you remember when the Island Boys were kind of popping, like a year ago or two?
Roughly. I'm not a big. I don't know much about them, but yeah.
Okay, so there were the two twins. They made that song. It went viral on TikTok, and they probably made like $250,000 within a month, and then they fell off. All right. Mm-hmm. Well, the Island Boys are back in the news because, all right. Let me just show you, dude.
They're actually brothers, right?
Yes, they're twin brothers.
That's gross, man.
Yeah, nah, that's, and they have a lot of videos like
what's
that.
Worse is the incest or the gay?
Dude, it's
that's incredible.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like these guys had a bit of fame for a quick second.
Right.
They probably made like $250,000 to $500,000.
Right.
Pumping those crypto shills. Good for them. They fell off, and they have to resort to dog shit like this to get attention again.
Right. And I think that's what I was kind of saying is like they're just looking at them, and I might, I don't know a lot about them. I might be profiling here, right, based on what they look like. Yeah. They don't look like the most talented guys in the world. You know what I mean? They just don't.
No, they're not. They don't
look
have
like
talent.
An internet gimmick that, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And so like you have to do shit like that. Whereas if they had been musicians for a long time, had been doing like, shit bars for a long time, playing in front of, shit crowds, they would have some talent. They could go on tour. They could play stadiums. They could make a bunch of money doing that. But instead, they got to fucking kiss and fuck their own brother right up the butthole.
Yeah, I mean,
that's where they've landed.
Yeah. Same thing with like Bad Baby.
Look at your life.
Yeah. Same thing with like Bad Baby. Remember her? The Catch Me Outside girl? She has an OnlyFans now.
Isn't she like the most? She makes like the most money, right? Or a shit ton of money.
Let me see. She probably makes like, I think she made like $5 million off OnlyFans or something crazy like that.
I saw at one point she made the most money of anyone. I don't know if that's still the case, but they were interviewing. It was when Joe Rogan had Dr. Phil on. They were talking about her because that's where she became famous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at that point, like Jamie looked it up, and she was the most paid OnlyFans person.
So I was wrong about $5 million. Mm-hmm. It's $50 million. Jackson, do you wanna kiss, bro?
We could make some real money.
You wanna kiss, dude?
We could make some real money. Dude, you know what I mean? Like
Lil Pump has an OnlyFans.
Like,
Lil Pump has an OnlyFans now.
Jesus
you remember
Christ.
Lil Pump?
Not really, but
Gucci
I know
Gang?
he exists.
Yeah.
Is that who that
Gang.
is?
Yeah.
Fuck. Dude, everyone's
disgusting.
Everyone's so depraved, It's just such a depraved. I think it's not everyone is like this, at least I'd like to hope.
But I think they're right. I think that's why I was kind of saying, at some point, are we gonna like? I think social media is at its absolute worst right now, right? And I think social media is at its absolute worst, where instead of people chasing, I think it's a good thing to chase fame, but people are just chasing attention, right? Like people aren't bringing anything to the table.
Well, I think that's kind of the same thing. No, like what's the difference?
Okay.
In how you mean it?
Okay,
know what I mean?
I am chasing fame and stand-up, right? But I understand that I have to put in the work, and I work on writing and this and that, right? But I'm not going to chase attention in stand-up by, like what would be an example? Like crashing someone's set, or by like, I don't know, stand-up's a hard thing to do because there's so many bad comedians, or you know, or like showing up to a set and like a doing things that aren't sustainable long term, right? Like I think music's a better example, right? You can chase fame in music. You can try to be the biggest musician in the world by putting out quality music, by consistently trying to get better. And then chasing attention in music is by spending $100,000 on a car and then just destroying it for a music video. You get a bunch of clicks. You maybe get 2 hot songs, but the act isn't there anymore.
Do you know who Dave Grohl is?
No.
So he's a white guy musician. He does like hard rock and stuff, but he was in Nirvana, if you've heard of them, and he's the lead singer for the Foo Fighters now.
Okay.
Really cool guy. I've read his book and everything. Really cool dude. But he did an interview one time, and he was talking about when he was doing shitty bars as a drummer with Nirvana, and they were like making no fucking money. They were like broke as hell. But he was like, every night I would go up on the drums and I just loved it. And if that was the rest of my life till I was who I am now, like I would have been totally fine with it because I love playing the drums so much. And I was so about getting good at the drums. You know what I mean? And that's how, because I thought that was a really cool way to approach things. And that's how I kind of approach like this show. It's how I approach stand-up, is like, I just want to make the show or the joke as good as I can fucking make it to me, so I can be proud of it and so I can enjoy it. And if that results in a bunch of, success with it, that's awesome. But I want to do it in a way where it's like, if it never works out, I would still be fine with it because I fucking love doing it. You know what I mean? Because I'm putting out something that's high quality that I'm a fan of. And I think you do that for long enough, the results come. You know what I mean? It's just sort of staying in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how. It's not even a failure in that. Like, if things never work out I had a company in college, it never worked out, but I had no regrets. I have no regrets on the time I spent. Right. It worked out in some sense, right, but it wasn't what I hoped it to be one day, and I couldn't.
Right.
I couldn't sustain it any longer.
And so with that, like, it's a good, like, if you just, if you liked doing it more, you probably would have stayed into it and you would have kept doing it. You would have kept improving. And at a certain point, you just hit that critical mass and it would find success. Mm-hmm. But just, it's like happened. Anything. It's just like, it's like fucking golfers who golf. You just got to keep, it's like, you got to do a lot of stuff to get, you don't see all the hours before, you know what I mean? You just see Bill Burr at Red Rocks killing. You don't see him, doing shit clubs for 10 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, no, I mean, exactly. Like, you're never going to, like, regret, you're never going to regret the grind, right? Like I said, it was even like nights, like even Thursday night, I tried to, the mic died on me, right? So I went a cappella. Mm-hmm. The microphone died right before I went up. So I went a cappella, right? And there was 4 people in the crowd, and I had a good set. And, like, literally, like, the things I'll always remember is, like, the actual audience there, right? Like, one of the guys said, yo, good shit, dude, right? Like, you remember those moments. I'm not, right? Like, whenever things come up, even with even with this show, we're going to remember all of, like, the little moments, right? Mm-hmm. To wherever it ultimately leads, and you shouldn't leave with regret on the table, right? And I think right. Like I said, and I think the problem is, right, like with these fucking jackasses who are like these 2 brothers that are kissing each other, right? Like they never were chasing an end goal; they were just chasing attention. So that's where I'm saying, like, there's a difference between fame and attention. You want to. When you work so hard at something, you want as many people to see it as possible because obviously money comes into play. You get really proud of your work, and and in comedy you're seeking you're seeking approval, right? It's a known thing. You seek approval, right? And when the more people approve it, right, the better. But for these guys, people are not laughing with them; they're laughing at them. And I think that's a big difference with social media, where we're not seeing as many talented people come up through it anymore, but we're just seeing people who are just seeking attention, right? Like Mr. Beast was a guy who created his own product, who created his own unique atmosphere, and he never did it for the fame. He did it because he loved YouTube, and obviously he had dreams of being the biggest YouTuber one day, right? He manifested it. But you see all the Mr. Beast clones on YouTube. Mm-hmm. They're not being unique. They're copying his same flow. They're not doing anything different. And that's what attention is. It's not sustainable, right? So that's my long-winded answer of what's the difference between chasing attention, right, versus something sustainable. So I guess fame versus attention is, you can interchange them, but But that's the key distinction I'm trying to make between those two. So
that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes more sense. I guess the word that I use is like product. So instead of chasing attention or whatever, I chase like a good product, and then I kind of want that to result in whatever success comes from having a really solid thing to provide. You know what I mean? But then there's other things in terms of like you got to market that product and like look from just a pure business standpoint. So I mean that's all stuff that I definitely got to learn about. We probably both do a little bit, but that's why we got time, bro. We got time on this earth, brother.
Yeah, you got I think that's also why we talk about this guy every week. Why people get mad at the Gringo Poppy, because he kind of walked into. He walked into all of that, right? And people, I think the big problem. Listen, I don't get mad at Brennan Schaub for having bad jokes sometimes, because every single comedian has bad jokes. Every single comedian has nights that don't go well, and right, not every single special is going to be an A+ hit. But the problem is, I think people are frustrated with the fact that he didn't put in the work and he didn't put in the time. And for something like comedy, where you need years to develop your craft, you need years to learn how to talk on a stage, and people seeing him kind of walk into it, right? And it pisses people off. Like Brennan Schaub's first time doing stand-up was probably at the Comedy Store, right? Following like Andrew Santino and like opportunities people wait like 6, 7, 8 years to get, right? So that's probably the best comparison I can draw within that space, right? You see like guys like Russell Peters, Dave Chappelle, who took like decades. Matt Ripe's having a lot of success right now. It took him 12 years to get where he's at, right? And I think it's why people get mad at Schaub, because he didn't. Because you're seeing him bomb on the biggest stage when everyone else had a bomb.
On
an open mic,
a Tuesday night at fucking Chinese restaurant.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So there, I think that's the best comedy comparison.
Yeah. So speaking of. So imagine, let's just fast forward, right? Let's say you're 40 years old. We've done the comedy thing. We're fucking crushing it, right? Just crushing it. And someone comes up to us, our manager, publicist, what have you, right? And they say, Jackson, Rohan, we've seen a little dip in the numbers, in terms of the viewership and all this. We think it'd be a good idea for you guys
to
kiss. What are you doing there? Are we making out, or are we firing our manager? What are we doing?
I think we're island boys.
Here's the thing: I think we need to set this out now, because the pressure.
No, we're island. We become
the pressure
island boys.
in the moment. I don't know, dude. You don't have to tell me twice, dude. You're a handsome guy. Like I'm down with it, but as long as you know what I mean.
I don't know if I'd want to kiss you, but listen, I'd maybe in a mirror or something.
You don't want any of this right here?
No, yeah, no. All right, so I'd never kiss a dude. That's not happening.
I've done it before.
Yeah, that's not surprising. I'm not.
Like with my I'm not even kidding. It was on my birthday, and then a couple other times too. Like you just get drunk, and like when I was in college, and then it's like you do that as like a party trick.
Did you peck
just a
him
peck? Yeah, just a little peck. Yeah,
because the island boys.
I wasn't like tonguing my friend. No, my friend Nick.
They were playing tongue twister with each other.
Brendan, Brad, those three guys.
So you guys had a little peck.
I've just kissed each of them at least once. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, because the Island Boys were playing.
Maybe James too, not Frazier, different guy.
Okay. You got something to tell us, dude?
No, it's just hanging out. You met Brad. He was in town. He was one of the guys who was in town.
So you kissed him when he was in town?
I have, yeah.
When he was in
Not
town?
when he was in town, no. This was like probably 4 years ago.
Did you like it?
Because here's the thing. You're framing that question in such a way where it's like, oh, I got you. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm not saying I hated it. You know what I mean? But I didn't like it in the way that you mean. You know what I mean? I just liked it. It's like, hey, I'm hanging out with my friends. We're doing something crazy, a little zany, right?
I mean, we just hanging out, just watching TV, and it's like, it'd be really funny if you kissed.
No, we were probably out somewhere. I remember one vividly we were celebrating my
PDA?
my 20
So PDA,
my 22nd birthday.
You want everyone to know that this is your guy?
We did it in front of a large group of people. Large group of people, yeah.
So you're in a humiliation kinking? You have a humiliation kink?
I didn't think it was humiliating. I thought it was pretty cool. Just like this is my really good friend, and I'm going to show you all how good a friend he is. That's kind of what, that's where I was coming from, and that's the space that my head was at. But,
which head?
But yeah, this one, my cabeza.
I don't know, bro. Like you got acting a little zesty. Like you got that picture behind you.
Dude, I was drawing up old football plays. You want to see what it is?
Dude, nobody has a two-back formation anymore.
I know, but we ran the wing T when I was a kid. You know what I mean? But so what this is it's a pass play, right? So the quarterback's going to take this from the shotgun, right? And these two backs are running check and release patterns. So they're going to, because there's a lot of developing up here, it's going to take a while. So they're in here to pass block, and then if the sort of flat zones vacate, right? Like we want this play to do. They'll release out to the flat and take a nice little check down for 7-8 yards, right?
Okay, well, yeah.
These two guys on the tight ends, right? So one of them's going to come up, and he's going to come across the field like this in a little double move, right? And that's going to attract a ton of attention from the defense.
What coverage are we doing this? What coverage are you?
Right.
So you're doing cover.
You
2?
Want zone. You want zone.
So cover 2 zone.
Or cover 4. Anything with this double high safety, this will work really well against.
Well, let's say it's cover 2.
So this guy.
Yeah, let's say it's cover 2. All right, it's cover 2. That's first of all, it's an illegal formation. The Z has to be on the line of scrimmage.
He is.
Okay, he looks like
I drew him a little back, but he's
on the line. Okay,
it's kosher. Yep.
So if it's cover 2, all right. So the X is so that safety on the right side is gonna follow the X. Okay,
right. So the X has an option route depending on the coverage, right?
Yeah, the Z is gonna be open, right? But the Z needs to stop a little bit more in the middle, right? You got to hit him right in that sweet spot.
Right, but so these two are sort of running. This is where the read is, right? It's a high-low read. And so if these safeties crash down on this little double move, it's there to attract a lot of attention, right? The tight end coming over the top is just going to curl right over that and be wide open.
Well, if both the safeties crash, you have the X wide open too. Because if
Yeah,
we're
but
playing
the corner will.
Okay, we're saying so
he's
cover 2 read. So the corner is reading if he's going deep.
Right.
Okay, so we'll say cover 2 man then maybe.
Yeah, man, it could work against man, but that would provide problems with these guys because they have someone trailing them. They'd have to beat the man with these routes, and you could adjust it. But I like it more as a zone beater personally.
Okay, so cover 4. So we'll say cover 4 then. The X is getting followed 1-on-1. All right. You have your 2 safeties going. Well, in cover 4, your 2 safeties are just going deep regardless. You probably have a corner. You have your corner probably going to start a little bit lower as if he is in cover 2, right?
Right.
So he's probably going to honestly be starting damn near the line. So you can honestly, if you're a coach, you might just say, fuck it, let's just blitz that corner, right?
Right.
Throw a little. You gotta throw a little because like you'd
have to know this is coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, if the Y is like the big slow guy, you can maybe put like a linebacker on him. But if it's that Z, you might want to man him up with that corner and have. You can even run like a cover 3 cloud if you're a defense. Like if I saw this formation, I'd audible to cover 3 cloud left side corner. He's gonna be running He's going to be defending the flat. He's going to be defending the left swing from one of those backs on the left side. So you have that covered there.
Got a guy up here.
You
got in 2 safeties. So one safety's got the deep third. One's got the other deep third.
No.
The
So
corner on this
safety
side's got the other deep third.
So the safety on the right side has.
Yep.
Okay. The safety on the side of an X has a deep third. The corner has a deep third. And then the other safety where there's a cloud, where the corner is playing the cloud on the other side, he has a deep half.
Yep.
So
so it's like a cover 6.
Yep, exactly. Perfect. And then your Y should be wide open. That's a money play. Your Y should be wide open.
You're damn right it's a money play.
Your Y
and if all these zones, if they're coached to just get depth, and just get back, keep the deepest guy in front of you, right? These little check and releases, that's 8 yards every time. Because they're backpedaling the whole time, right? You got these guys, they're backpedaling, they're backpedaling.
I mean, when I played corner, I was a backpedaler for sure.
Exactly. And then, this guy looks like he's pass blocking, especially if, like the fullback, you know what I mean? Like, what's he doing? He's not going to run a route. All of a sudden, he's in the flat.
Yeah.
He's running over your flat corner, right? Your 140-pound flat corner, my 300-pound fullback is putting him in the ground for a 9-yard gain, setting the tone.
And he just, like I said, it's a little check and release, right? If someone comes, blitzes off the edge, beats the right tackle, you have a little bit more time in the pocket. Right?
Yeah.
That's a great play.
Thank you.
That's a great play.
You can't run it all the time.
Yeah. It won't beat a man.
Obviously.
If you
I'm not bothering. Fuck it.
If
that thing is impossible to hang up, but
if you can't, that play is not beating man coverage for sure. That's a terrible play for man. Like cover 2 man, that play is getting killed, right? But
well, what I would like to do sometimes is I'd start the Z out wide, right? And then I would motion him in to flex, right? And then I'd run some sort of power run to the left, Yeah. And then later in the game, I would do the same motion and flex into that and add a little play action, And then so they're thinking run, so they're not going to come with a heavy pass blitz, which is probably the best way to defend this thing is with a man heavy pass blitz. You're screwed. You're not gonna win.
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably just have to hit a check down real quick and hope your running back makes some action in the backfield, right?
Right.
So that's like, and honestly, it's not even a bad matchup. That's a good matchup. Like if you have a shifty running back,
like you get a linebacker. Yeah, you get
like
a linebacker
if you have a guy like
LT,
LT,
who's not.
Yeah, if you have a guy like LT,
space,
if you have a guy like LT, right? You kind of might want to run that, or if it's like cover 2, if it's a heavy man blitz, you can get the X, just run a go, right? Just chuck it up really quick, a little back shoulder fade.
Yeah, 2nd and 4, just throw that thing up.
Yeah, exactly.
Throw that noise up. You got Jamar Chase out there. Fucking just throw him the ball.
Against Eli Apple.
Don't get too
what are we doing against Eli Apple? Yeah, right. There's a little back shoulder. Like, you can run that in the end zone maybe too.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's not get too cute out here. You know, players make plays. Coaches don't make the plays. Let's let those guys make the plays. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I was just reminiscing on my old
football
days.
That's a great play. Yeah, that's a great play. That's not that's not gay at all.
No. It's football. It's about the straightest thing you can do.
I mean, Andrew Schultz has a pretty famous bit about why football is gay. I don't know if you've seen that, but I think Schultz also doesn't look like he played many sports, so just to be honest.
It's probably just just hates all those jocks who are showering naked together and hugging each other and just ramming each other.
Yeah,
he just wasn't included in that, and it's okay. I'd be resentful too.
Yeah, let's. Well, we're at an hour. I wanted to touch up on this. This is a pretty big topic.
Okay.
Especially in the comedy world, right, where we want to grow. So Tim Dillon also mentioned that he is potentially going to be moving to Rumble because YouTube keeps demonetizing his stuff. Theo Von recently had a podcast with this lady. I can't remember her name right now, but she sarcastically made jokes about the election being rigged, and she provided a false stat, and then YouTube banned the podcast. And Elon Musk let the podcast stay on Twitter. What do we call free speech with social media? Because do these social media companies have the right to actually dictate what's allowed on their platform because they are a company, or are they violating First Amendment rights? Where do we draw the line?
Well, I think that's a good question because they actually just did the Supreme Court thing where the Supreme Court was like, you are allowed. It was about like gay weddings and baking a cake, so it's a little bit different. But it was like based on the beliefs of the owner, you're allowed to deny service based on your religious beliefs, right? So you could argue that they're allowed to do that. I don't really know. I'm not a lawyer, but what I do know is it's fucking lame. I don't like it. And it makes those places no fun, Here's my argument, right, for against it, right? I'm not even gonna do the whole First Amendment thing, right? So people will make the argument because Google, Facebook, whatever, these tech giants are a business, they can do whatever they want. Well, my argument is, they steal our data and then they sell it. 100%.
They're publicly traded, right? And let's not act like these guys have not taken our taxpayer money for some type of loan, for some research, for something, right? They have obviously played the system to get money out of us. And I think the big example is obviously when they were stealing money, when they were stealing our information for the election cycle, like in 2016. I think Facebook did it, right? So that's my biggest argument, where it's like, I understand why you can't have a complete free-for-all on the internet, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to have a sustainable business, and it's going to drive advertisers away. But you can't have... If somebody gives misinformation, you can't censor it. You can't censor it.
What even is fucking misinformation, right? Because I've seen a bunch of shit. Let me turn my light back on. But I've seen a bunch of shit that they said was misinformation that isn't,
Yeah, I know. Obviously, we're hinting at the pandemic. I'm not going to go in there, but...
Right, but... But here's the thing: is like, I think it might work out to where, as long as the government doesn't get too involved with all this shit, which they're probably going to try to, and the private sector just needs to keep them out. But like, I think it's going to be, because Twitter, everyone says like Twitter's worse than it's ever been. It sucks. Like, nobody likes it. Advertisers aren't going there. But it's had spikes in users. Like, the user time, it's like number of users and average time spent on the platform per user has grown consistently since Elon bought the thing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's higher than it's ever been. And so if you're an advertiser, right, if you're not in that market, like, you're the one who suffers after a while, right? And the people who are getting they're getting eyes on their ads. Additionally, like, if you're advertising on other things, it's just like, I don't know. I think it's going to work out to where people want to be where information is accurate, and it's not like, no one likes being censored. No one likes other people censoring people. No one reasonable likes that. And so they're going to go to places where that's not happening over time, gradually. And I think big companies are either going to have to realize that and adapt and make their thing less crazy, or they're just going to die like over time. I think
the rules for censorship should really only apply to actual politicians themselves. I don't think they should apply to the general public, because if I go outside and say the sky is green, right, I'm not causing any harm to anybody. Maybe I'm lying, yes, but I'm not causing harm to anybody, and if I say the sky is green, it's important that we have free speech, because if I say the sky is green, people rebutting, or people like calling me out on it, providing statistics, giving me an argument, that's more important than
100%. Exactly.
Because if you censor something, right, instead of letting people have dialogue around the issue, you're just giving more validity to that point where people are like, oh, well, they're hiding it for a reason, right? If they're trying to classify it. So it does, and that's the main argument for free speech itself, right? Like, any extreme idea, right? You can take it to the extreme with any idea, right? But you need to have people talk about those ideas so people can call them stupid. So people see the other side, so people can have that discussion, right? And if you're going to keep pushing people into this corner, right, where they're going to have their own little spaces, you're not going to see much you're not going to see much of a battle of opinions there, because the general public isn't in these weird 4chan spots. They're not in these weird, like, Reddit communities and Discord channels. You feel me?
Well, yeah. So what you're saying is totally true. And if you are someone who has a set of ideas, and when people want to talk to you about those, you get super defensive and you say you shouldn't be allowed to say that, and you start like going down that road, you should probably look at your ideas, because the fact you aren't confident enough to talk about them means they're probably shit, right? Or you just haven't thought about it, and you just heard it somewhere and you thought it sounded good, and you haven't actually thought out why you think that's true. So you don't actually want to talk about it, right? And so instead of turning around and being like, hey, this guy should not have a YouTube channel, blah, 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 or whatever it is, right? Just take a second, take a deep breath, and be like, do I really know about this? Maybe I should, read something from someone who does, right? Or I don't fucking know. But did you see the thing? It was a little while ago with Rogan. So he had RFK on. Yeah. And RFK has a lot of views on
the vaccine and stuff.
The vaccine and the pandemic that would definitely be seen as controversial by a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And so the guy, Peter Hotez is the name of the doctor, but he came and tweeted. He like worked on vaccines and stuff. He's like a very prominent vaccine guy.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is a load of BS. Like, he tweeted all this stuff. And so Rogan was like, I will make you the first person I've ever paid to have on my podcast. I will pay you $100,000 to come on and talk about this with RFK, who is not a doctor, right? And so it's you would think this guy has the upper hand just with his background and his credentials and everything, right? So, and then not only that, a bunch of other people came in and were like, we'll offer you this much amount. And it got to like over $1 million for charity that this thing would have put on. And he just like didn't want to do it, you know?
No, I mean, he chickened out, and it was the exact same thing when you were talking about, when people were talking about the vaccine, when you try to give some type of opposition to why you wouldn't get it, right? It said, I would love to see like a guy like Jimmy Kimmel bring someone with a different viewpoint than him, and they can have that conversation, right? Because bring a professional with you if you don't think you're intelligent enough to have the conversation. There's a bunch of things I have opinions on, right? But I'm not going to be able to debate with somebody who's been studying it for way longer than me. I think communism sucks, but I'm not going to, like, I don't know how comfortable I would be able to debate it with the fucking loser who's been studying communism in his mom's basement for 40 years, right? Who's read every single objection, who has every little detail. Like, I wouldn't be able to do it, but if I brought someone with me who's done the same thing on the other side, you'd be a little bit more comfortable there, right? And it's and like that's what society needs a little bit more of. Like, listen, obviously there's some very bad viewpoints, but we need to be exposed to bad viewpoints to so people can understand what the truth is, right? And
right,
you know, transparency builds truth.
It's kind of why everyone's so fucking mentally soft too, because like, here's the thing: is like, if you think about it like a muscle, right? You got to expose, like when you're exercising, what you're doing, you're exposing your body to stress, right? And then it adapts to the stress and comes back so it's able to deal with it, right? If you think of your brain in the same way, like you're confronting a bunch of different ideas, and some of them suck and some of them are good, and you're being exposed to all this stuff, and your brain will adapt over time and learn how to think about stuff too, and be able to pick out, oh, this is a stupid idea, and here's why, because I learned this other thing. But it's like if your just brain is mushy and you're just fed like one line of, you know what I mean? There's no challenge intellectually, and so you become a big dumb dipshit really fast because you haven't thought about anything outside of the one track that you've been on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's what also social media does, where it'll only recommend things that you're liking. Yeah. Right. And when you censor certain things and when you only pinpoint it to one way, you know, this is why you have like a bunch of stupid people who don't know how to really think for themselves. Who, like, the worst thing is like when I like seeing people who like will refer on like celebrities for their opinions on like the vaccine or instead of, or just whatever.
Yeah, fucking Gal Gadot thinks you should take the vaccine. It's like, I mean, she's hot, but I don't, you know what I mean? She's not a doctor.
Yeah. I mean, Russell Peters has a very, very famous bit where he basically, and I was watching, it's on his Netflix special from years ago. I don't remember the name, but he literally said the same thing. In America, the media controls people so much. Like, we are hardwired to what American media tells us. We're like absolutely, it's absolutely insane. And I'll pull. You can find the bit on YouTube, right? But it was the same thing with Ebola. Like, we created a bunch of fear when that happened, right? Obviously, the pandemic, when it first happened, everyone was scared of it. But when people stopped being scared of it, they just stopped caring. Right, and it kind of let's be honest, there was a lot of control tactics with it, especially if you were living in California at the time, right, and seeing the hypocrisy of the governor, And then there were also people on the other side who were acting completely stupid about the whole entire situation. So it goes both sides, but not exposing each side to other differing viewpoints is what causes people with tunnel thinking, and it's what causes, people who then you get like these kids who get no friends and they decide to go defend property at a BLM protest. And they're giant losers, and there's a bunch of more losers on the internet who defend this kid, who can't fathom that we're making a joke about this kid, and they get all upset, and then they start commenting a bunch of hate stuff on our second ever TikTok, and then what they don't realize is that if you're 17 years old and you have nothing better to do on a Friday night than stand outside some empty small business that's probably not going to get touched anyway, and pretend you're defending a property, you're a fucking dork. Like, you have no friends.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right, we are at an hour and 15 pretty much. I don't know what else we have to say. Jackson, anything else for you?
Real quick. Actually, we'll talk about this next week. It'll be a bigger topic. We'll just do it next week.
All right, cool.
Team.
If this video gets 100 likes, me and Jackson will reenact that Island Boys video. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Make sure if you guys are new to like and subscribe. We are trying to improve every week. October, November, we will be moving to an in-person studio, hopefully. So we won't have to do this weird remote shit anymore. I know it sucks, but if you are new, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.